good. I think we're live now. What's up, guys? Welcome to Garage Goons, the most trash show on YouTube. And today, talking about Cyril Gane versus Black Beast, Derek Lewis, my boy. Houston, baby. It's going to be in Houston. It's going to be an awesome fight. What does it mean, though, for the heavyweight division? And, what is this fight overall? Because it's a weird fight, right? Like normally when we see interim belts in the UFC, someone's injured, someone is tied up because they're champ, or they're venturing up into a bigger division and they have a fight already scheduled. That's a non-title fight, but they have a belt, so it's being held up. We saw a lot of that with Conor, right? With lightweights, it seems like everyone at some point had a freaking interim belt. It happened with the 170-pound division for a while. We saw a whole bunch of interim belts. I remember Carlos Condit was an interim champion for a while. A lot of funny stuff going on. But why? I just don't understand why because Francis, to my knowledge, said he was down to fight Derek Lewis. He said, if John Jones can't make the fight, I get it. Not enough money. He's a star. He's a big draw. But if he doesn't want to do it, I'm a champ and I want to defend my belt, which is honorable. And I think that's the right way to look at it. But why did they just not schedule Derek Lewis like Dana said in the presser when things started to go south with the John Jones negotiations for heavyweight? Why did he renege basically on him saying, Derek Lewis was the next guy up, I'm stupid on my hat. The next guy up. And I was actually looking forward to that fight because I know the first one was literally one of the worst fights all time. The only fights that come to mind that were like worse than that one was like Tyron Woodley when he defended the belt, like the first 3 times as a champion. That was so boring to watch. But I mean, outside of that, like that was one of historically the least output, striking and everything else wise fights in all, UFC history all time. And, but I just feel like both these guys realize, we have a responsibility to put on a show. We can literally knock out elephants with our right hands. Let's just go in there and see what happens this time. But it didn't happen for whatever reason. Now, I know since Ngannou got new management, he's been demanding a little bit more money. Here's the problem, though. He is a star, and he's must-see TV. He is must-see TV. There's people that have done the MMA thing on, how do I put this? There's 3 ways to market yourself in the UFC and become a star, right? The number one way and the best way is to be great and also be an enigma, also be a lightning rod, a source of controversy, a trash talker, someone who, has an infectious personality. We've seen it with Conor. We've seen it with Ronda. We've seen it with, John Jones to an extent, definitely Anderson Silva. We've seen it before for sure. And that's the best way, right? To have both. The other way is, there's 3 ways, like I said. One of the other ways is you could be like Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen is a snooze fest fighter. I think Chael Sonnen would tell you that himself. He was just trying to take dudes down and pound them out, or at the very least, just good old fashioned American wrestle them to death. Right. And that was his game plan. But why was he so big? Well, because he had the gift of gab. He could talk smack. He was able to get people riled up about things. He was able to piss people off. You either loved him or you hated him. He was the bad guy. He was Mr. America. He went down to Brazil after he basically called him a third world country and talked about how Anderson was playing in the dirt when he was a kid. And it was, I mean, nowadays you say something like that, you might get canceled. Back then it was still a little jarring, but I guess they let him slide with it. I guess he got away with it, but yeah, he's able to make people hate him, which is very, very good. Floyd is the same way, but great as well. Entertaining wise, when he fights Chael and Floyd, maybe that's a comp right there. Maybe that's a good comp for not the most entertaining fighters always, but definitely able to talk the smack and definitely able to piss people off. And that's a gift. In MMA, that's a big gift. And then the third way, the most obvious way, is just be good. It's best to have all of those elements, right? But you could just be good. And that's what Francis is. Francis is good. Listen, man, I'm a big fan of Francis. I think his story is amazing. I got a little choked up, I'm not going to lie, when I was listening to his story on the Up in Smoke, or no, not Up in Smoke, Hot Boxing. Sorry, Hot Boxing, Mike Tyson's podcast. This dude was like 7 years old, walking like 5 miles to school every day, going hungry, working in like the sand mines in Africa. Okay. Like this guy had, we have our American rags to riches stories. This guy is like that on steroids. No pun intended there. I think he's natural, but that's neither here nor there. He came from dirt. He came from nothing, guys. Nothing. It's a great story, and you can market that. There's smart guys in the UFC. There's smart guys that are able to market that kind of stuff. And I think him and Derek Lewis is a great fight because Derek Lewis has all three, right? I don't know if I would call him. He can be great. Derek Lewis has moments of greatness. I think with Nagano, we're at the point where we can safely call him great. Okay. By taking out Stipe, I know MMA math doesn't work almost ever. There's guys that beat certain guys and then they can't beat anybody else, but that certain guy they beat is really good. It just doesn't make sense most of the time. Okay. But MMA math wise, in my opinion, Stipe Miocic is the greatest heavyweight in MMA history. That's no slight to Fedor. But if you look at Stipe's hit list, beat a young Francis, but beat Daniel Cormier twice. Fabricio Verdum, Demolition Man. The list goes on. Junior Dos Santos. The list goes on, guys. And Francis beat him. So when a guy comes in and starches a guy that's cleared out the division the way that Francis starched Stipe, it kind of makes it weird because like everybody else in the division has been beaten by the guy you just beat. So who do you put in there? Now you're just looking to make money fights. Well, John Jones made the most sense because we have never seen him at heavyweight. He's a big mystery, and he's maybe the one guy that we think could move up, and he's so talented and so long and so strategic and so concise with his striking that he actually could win the belt. And I feel like a lot of people think that way. But it didn't work out. John Jones wants way too much money. So here we are. It's an interim fight. I just don't understand why Francis is not fighting one of these two guys. I prefer Black Beast. I think he's been in a while. He's been in the division a while. He's paid his dues. He's got the more impressive hit list overall. He's got a more impressive win, in recent years than Ciryl Gane. Like Gane beat a way over the hill Junior Dos Santos, if we're just being honest. How that fight looks 5-6 years ago, totally different, but he was a name nonetheless. And then, gosh, I'm drawing a blank, but the big Russian dude, former Bellator champion, I believe. But Derek Lewis's knockout of him stuck with me more. I mean, that was a really boring fight Gane just fought, just if we're going to be honest. It's a win nonetheless. And I guess this is the title eliminator fight to make, because who knows what Cain Velasquez is doing. A lot of guys are leaving the division. Seems like ever since USADA came in and the drug testing got super crazy, a lot of the guys in heavyweight just not saying Overeem, but I'm saying Overeem, kind of just don't look the same. Brock Lesnar was being teased a couple years ago, and he's flirting with coming back against DC and against John Jones and all these other guys, and that was kind of interesting. But right now, this is really the only fight to make. But I think the UFC is not doing themselves any favors, because think about it. These two guys fight. They're the clear number one and number two outside of Stipe, who, let's be honest, we need to just give him some time off. He got starched, man. Starched. That was a bad knockout. God, that was ugly. I was literally, most knockouts, I'm cheering, I'm losing my stuff. That one, when I saw it, I was legitimately frightened. That was like seeing some of like Deontay Wilder's knockouts early on in his career. Like, oh God, that guy might be not okay. You know what I'm saying? That was a tough one. Tough one to watch, man. And I'm a big Stipe fan, and I'm a big Francis fan. I just feel like I don't understand why they're trying, because what they could have done is said, okay, Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou for the belt, just straight up. No interim garbage, none of this. And then whatever, man. He's a champ. Have him fight 2-3 times a year, right? That's what we're doing now. We're not doing any more of this once a year, Conor McGregor once a year, Jose Aldo thing. We're not doing that anymore. The champions, if you notice nowadays, the champions are active. They're active. They're fighting at least twice a year, man. All of them. They're all defending the belt 2-3 times a year. And so why not make it to where, hey, tell Gon, hey, take 6 months off. All right. If you want a little tune-up fight, we'll throw you, we'll throw you Tuivasa or one of these guys, just to kind of keep the momentum in your favor. If you want to wait, we'll just have you be the next guy in line and you just fight the winner. That would make more sense, because you're not eliminating someone from, the equation of a potential heavyweight challenger. Now you're kind of eliminating. It's kind of looks weird, right? Like, imagine, okay, Black Beast wins, right? Let's just say he wins. What do you do with Gon now? What do you give him, like Curtis Blades or something? I don't know. What do you do with that guy? It's weird, right? Like, you gotta. He's only 9 fights deep as a mixed martial artist. This guy is freakishly talented. I just feel like they brought him up a little too fast. He has credible wins. Listen, I'm not mad at him fighting for a sort of a belt. It's an interim belt, but whatever. It's a belt nonetheless. I just feel like, why not save him for the real belt? Because even if he wins this one, no one's looking at the winner of this as a champion. They're just putting this on the card because no one cares about, Nunez versus Pena. If we're just being honest, like, Nunez is going to whoop her. We all know this. What else is there to say about that? Nunez is a freak. The UFC's so dumb for cutting Cyborg. So dumb. There was literally one fight that Amanda Nunez could have had and that challenged her, besides Shevchenko, who, let's be honest, she doesn't need to fight her anymore because they have a 125-pound division. So yeah, I guess that's always a potential, but then you got one person moving up against arguably the greatest mixed martial artist all time, women or men, in Amanda Nunez, and you got rid of her only competition. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. Nobody cares. But my point is, Nunez is dominant. They needed another card. They needed another marquee fight, right? And they couldn't be disrespectful to Nunez and say, oh, you're the co-main event, but you're the only belt fight. So they said, we'll make up a stupid belt, right? We got to sell pay-per-views. So, and if we're going to have an actual headliner that's not the champion, we got to make it a sort of champion thing. You know what I'm saying? So that way Amanda would maybe fall for the okadoke and not feel disrespected, although I think she should feel disrespected. She should be the headliner as the champion, as the greatest mixed martial artist ever. The problem is she's priced herself out of she's in this weird place where she's so dominant that people aren't interested anymore. You know, it's not like boxing where if a guy's super dominant, people want to watch because people love knockouts. In MMA, it's like if you're a knockout artist, people are going to tune in. Nunez can knock any of these chicks out in any division. But, you know, sometimes she just beats them up for 5 rounds. She has no problem beating somebody up for 5 rounds. That gets old after a while. I mean, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I remember at the end, you know, the past 2-3 years of George St. Pierre's 170-pound reign, I was getting tired of it. It's like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. George is going to jab a lot. And as soon as the guy gets annoyed with a jab, he's just going to shoot a double leg, take the guy down, and lay on him for 5 rounds. I know it's more complex than that, and all you GSP fanboys are going to, well, he's just not just, you know, a hump and dump kind of guy. You know, he's strategy. Let's be honest, man. George St. Pierre fought safe. He was never advancing and trying to get subs. The last time I remember him trying to get a sub outside of Bisbing, which we all saw that coming, right? If you didn't see George St. Pierre taking Bisbing down and trying to get out of there as fast as possible, sorry, bro. Sorry that you were unpleasantly surprised. But I just saw that coming. He came out of retirement. George didn't want to fight. He wanted to get in, get out, get a good paycheck, and get another belt on the way so he can add it on his wall full of accomplishments. So he was just trying to get in, end it as quick as possible, which he did, and then get out. But prior to that fight, when he was actually active in the 170-pound division, nobody could force the man to fight. He would just double leg you and take. He did it to everyone at will. It was basically Khabib, except for Khabib actually knocked guys around a little bit and actually went for finishes. George St. Pierre was happy to stay on top of you and just beat you, you know, with these 50% shots where guys would get lumped up by the end of the fight, but no one was getting blown open, right? He's not throwing vicious elbows. He's not loading up on his punches. It was like, you know, it's the same thing with Nunez, man. She's just too dominant. Everyone knows the obvious matches to make. It's only Cyborg and it's only Valentina. Okay? So she's priced herself out. So now they have to make Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane the main event. And not mad at it. I just, you know, it's just a tough card, tough situation. I also just don't understand it. Why eliminate one of these, you know, hungry dudes who deserve it from fighting for the real title? Nobody really cares. The only guys that care about interim titles are guys that know that they probably wouldn't have won the actual title, you know? So what does this mean in the big picture for the landscape of the heavyweight division? In a weird way, John Jones, the guy that's never fought at heavyweight, is holding the division up. That's the fight to make. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou is the fight to make. Make no mistake, that's the biggest fight right now in the UFC. Conor McGregor's leg is snapped like a twig, okay? Ronda Rousey's not coming back. Khabib's not coming back. Nate Diaz, we don't know what he's doing. So of the people we know are 100% active, the fight to make is John Jones. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. And maybe that's what they're really trying to, you know, they'll do one of those weirdo things where they'll have 2 guys with belts in the same division for a long time. It's happened before. I hate when they do that, but it's happened. And they'll build that fight up while making the other guys continue to, you know, to fight. It's just weird when they do that. I don't like that. I think there should always be one belt. The only exception is a guy like Dominic Cruz. Listen, if you're the champ, nobody ever took it from you, and you just keep blowing out your ACLs. I get it. All right, make an interim belt or vacate the belt. Do something. But there's literally no reason why Francis can't be the one in this fight. They fight at heavyweight. It's not like he's not making weight. They're all maxed out with their weight. Most of those guys don't even cut. You know? The only guy I know for sure that cut to make heavyweight is Brock Lesnar, man. All these other guys just, listen, you get to weigh 265 pounds. All right? Like, if you naturally weigh more than that, you could probably lose a few. You know what I'm saying? Francis is the exception. That guy's 200, close to the max weight. all muscle. That guy's a weirdo, bro. He's a freak. But what are we doing? What is John Jones doing? Holding up this division, forcing some weird interim situation. What is Dana doing? Like, can we get it together here? Like, we need clarity. It's the heavyweight division. These are supposed to be the biggest, baddest, most dangerous dudes on the planet. And I get it. If you saw that fight between Black Beast and Francis the first time, you might have some PTSD from that. Or you might just now be waking up from that long-ass nap you took. Okay? That one was a snooze fest. Because both guys knew that the other guy could shut the lights out at any point. So they just stood around and looked at each other for 5 rounds. Or for 3 rounds, I think it was. And then Derek Lewis threw leg kicks in that fight. And Francis Ngannou only threw missing punches, and the leg kicks got it done. They literally got warned for inactivity. It was stupid. Okay. Nobody was willing to take a chance. I don't think either one of these guys are doing that this time around. I think they know there's too much at stake. I think Francis has a different outlook. And I think with guys like that, being a counterpuncher is a tough strategy, man. Because a lot of times counterpunchers are willing to take a little bit of a glancing blow, and kind of roll with it and then hit off of it from Lewis or Ngannou, and you still get knocked out. So it's kind of like, hey, you might as well just say, hey, I'm going to go to war. Hopefully my chin holds up. I'm going to try to keep my head movement, not keep it on a straight line, keep it on a swivel, give him a moving target, try to implement some leg kicks, give him something else to think about besides my fist, and go in there and try to knock this dude out. Because we know if both those guys come to fight, someone's getting knocked out. That's why John Jones is so interesting, because he's the only guy that's long enough, talented enough, and tactful enough, I think, to outpoint Francis Ngannou and make him go 5 rounds and still be alive afterwards to tell the story. That's why that fight's interesting. It's a clash of styles. It's the butcher versus the surgeon, right? One of them is a killer. The other one is precise. In this fight, we got 2 butchers going at it. Well, if Black Beast won, in my head, I'm still thinking Black Beast is going to get the title shot because that's what Dana said, and he's fighting GANE. GANE and Black Beast is a good matchup. I was kind of surprised when I saw the odds. Ciryl Gane is like a plus 300 favorite, meaning if you bet $10 and win, you will get $13. So it's a bad bet. Derek Lewis, on the other hand, is minus 265. So he's over a 2-to-1 dog. If you bet if you bet $10 on Derek Lewis, you'll get $26 or $25, something like that. So I like that. And they always do my boy dirty. Derek Lewis always gets done dirty. I always watch the odds. They did him dirty against Curtis Blades both times. He was not supposed to win against, gosh, I can't remember the guy's name. Volkov? Yeah, Alexander Volkov. Gosh, I kept wanting to say Volkanovski, but I know that's totally not the right guy. Volkov. He was a big dog to him, but here's the thing, man. When you can hit like that and you have improved significantly in your defensive wrestling, stuffing takedowns, getting back to your feet, Derek Lewis is an excellent scrambler. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Derek Lewis, since the Mark Hunt fight, he hasn't allowed anybody to do him dirty like that. Curtis Blades couldn't take him down the second time around. And when you let a guy like that, a freaking beast of a man, literally called the Black Beast, stay on his feet for more than 3 rounds, it doesn't matter how tired he gets because all he needs is one. We saw it Volkanovski. The clock was winding out. He was losing that fight, and he just said, forget it. I'm throwing this bomb right in here, right now. You're going night-night. And it landed, and it was exactly what happened. His leg kicks have improved too. So I think Gane is the more tactical fighter. I think GANE has proven that, he comes from a kickboxing and a Muay Thai background. I don't know how good GANE's wrestling is. I don't think he's been challenged too much from what I've seen so far. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think Derek Lewis is going to try to take him down, but you never know. Derek Lewis surprised me, man. This dude looks like an ex-retired D lineman or something like that. He comes in with a gut sometimes. He comes in, you could tell he's strong as hell, but he comes in looking like, I don't know, like he hasn't really been dieting. He's not too worried about what he's eating, and he gets tired. But I have seen him make steady progressions the past 2-3 years. He's not as easy to take down anymore. And if you do take him down, he's great at scrambling. And he is better at pacing himself. He knows, hey, if I knock this guy down, if he's 99% out, I'll jump on him and finish the job. But if I hit him and it looks like he's still alive, I'm not going to just unload the gas tank like I have done in the past. I think that Derek Lewis has made big improvements, and I actually got him as the underdog to win this fight. I think Ciryl Gane, 9 fights in the octagon. We don't know about his wrestling. We have seen Derek Lewis, oddly enough, press guys against the cage and go for takedowns and try to beat guys down while they're on the ground. We've seen him throw flying knees, and I've even seen him throw head kicks recently, man. What's going on with that? And the one thing that you have to take into account is he's got the touch of God. He's got the touch of God. And I think if Gane wins, he outpoints him. I don't think Gane gets a finish in this fight. I think he outpoints him. He stays on the outside. He keeps his distance. He jabs him. He kicks him. He does all this. And guys, Derek Lewis will be losing this fight until he wins it. That's my prediction. I think Derek Lewis pulls a Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is Darren Elkins of the heavyweight division. He always takes a beating early on, comes back, and shuts the lights out. That's his game plan. His whole game plan is, I have this trump card. I have this ace of spades in my back pocket. So if I keep getting garbage hands long enough, I'm just going to pull that out and play it. And, hey, so far it's worked. Can't really complain. So, yeah, that's next week. I know you guys are saying, oh, you're skipping over the Uriah Hall versus, God, what's dude's name? I've only seen him fight once, if I'm being honest. Strickland. I don't know, man. I'm kind of inspired by that card. Maybe I'll do a breakdown if it's good afterwards. But that's where I'm at with all of it. Quick reminder. Jamie Kaufman is going to be here Tuesday. I'm going to interview him. It's going to be super fascinating. He's done photography for very cool, local music groups, metal bands, hardcore bands. Jay Theo, go check out that interview. He's done photo shoots for him. He's really good at editing, and he's really good with his style. He has a style, and I dig his style. I think what he does in the music industry is really cool. So we're going to find out more about this guy coming up. And maybe he'll have some tips for you aspiring photographers, how you can get into the music industry from a photography standpoint, if that's your goal. That's coming up, guys. So stay tuned. That's going to be Tuesday night. And yeah, man, we got a lot of things coming in the pipeline. It's going to be good stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below about John Jones. If you even want him to come back. Some guys are just like, I'm done with it, man. Too much problems, holding up the division, whatever. What do you think about this weird interim belt situation? Do you think there should be a belt? Or do you think Gane should be the one fighting Francis right now? He fought more recently. He's the hotter fighter. You think Derek Lewis should have got it because Dana said that's what he was going to do, and Derek Lewis has been on a tear as of recently. Took out Blades pretty good. What do you guys think? All right. Garage Goons, the most trash show on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out. And stay tuned on Tuesday. Jamie Kaufman, photographer. It's going to be dope. And we are out.